going on, guys? How you doing? It's Jamie here. Thanks very much for joining me in today's video. I want to say a very warm welcome to you, and thanks very much for joining me. If you do happen to catch the live, of course, drop a comment. Let me know you're here. Feel free to ask any questions, and if you do end up jumping on the replay, drop a hashtag replay. Smash that heart button. Just helps the message get a bit further out to the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks very much, guys. For those of you tuning in via YouTube, thanks very much for joining me. If this is the first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Jamie. I cover internet marketing, affiliate marketing, how to get started online, and a whole bunch of stuff digital, really. So if any of that's of interest to yourself, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell icon to stay up to date with everything I'm putting out. Alrighty, so what I thought I'd do today is go through the subject of branding and how you can start framing yourself to, I guess, first of all, build yourself up as a personal brand. Secondly, how to attract people with money and how to do that via your content as you go along. So now I do apologize. I'm using StreamYard. It doesn't always show who I've got with me on the live. So I appreciate anyone tuning in. Like I say, drop a comment, let me know you're here. And of course, feel free to ask any questions along the way. I'm going to be doing a bit of a Q&A section at the end. So I'll be able to go through and help you guys out. So like I say, smash that heart button, drop a comment, and really appreciate it. Melvin, how you doing? That's probably why I can't see it. But yeah, I'll assume that you're just everywhere, my man. Thanks very much for joining me. Brilliant. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and we'll jump straight to it. Like I say, drop any questions along the way. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. What am I doing? Oh yeah, sharing the old screen. There we go. Alrighty. So this is called branding and stuff, and I've decided to call it very fittingly branding and stuff. So yeah, subject's branding and stuff, and the title of the thing is branding and stuff. Go figure, right? Right. So before I get into it, if you're interested in taking your affiliate marketing to the next level, you want to ramp things up, you're sick of the struggle, you're not making headway, go to jgcall.com. You might not need to put www.jgcall. I think the security certificate might be on the actual www part, not the root domain. So anyway, check that out. There's a free case study there. And you can check that out. If you're interested in locking in a time to chat with me, feel free to do so. Just a word of warning before I go through that, and before you go through that, sorry, is that look, this is basically a pathway to shortcut your success online. So if you're not willing to rock up on time to the call, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then it's probably not for you. But for everyone else that is interested in moving their business along, check it out and let me know what you think. Right, so what is a brand? It's more than just a computer with the title brand on the front of it, but it's a little graphic. I thought it was kind of cool. Anyway, the other one that I really like, and this comes from yesterday's thing, is just a unicorn. I don't know why, I love this thing. So you don't have to be a unicorn to be a brand. Like, we can all, literally every single one of us, it can be a brand. I guess the reason why I put this particular image up is because, you know, it's not like 1 in 100 people can be a brand. You can form a brand around yourself for any reason, anything you're passionate about. And of course, if you are trying to monetize it, then, you know, that can be based off what you're passionate about. It can be based off, you know, affiliate products, if you're interested in those, and some of the things you learn as part of being in a affiliate program, a high ticket one, for example. So it was sort of like a little hint that you don't need to be special in order to create one. We all can build an audience and monetize that as well. So first and foremost, what is branding? I googled the definition just for you guys. This one's really interesting. So here we go. So it's number one. It's either the action of marking with a branding iron. I don't know if that sounds overly fun. I'll be honest. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think that's what we want, really. Of course, the other one is the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. Now, this, of course, can carry over to individuals. You can brand a person. You can brand ourselves. That's what we're doing. That's technically what I'm doing right now. I just branded myself. There you go. Anyway, thought that was kind of interesting. So here's what branding is not. You do not need to be a celebrity. I'm going to go through a couple of celebrities in a moment just to give a reference point of why it's really powerful to grow a brand. But you don't need to. You know, Russell Brunson talks in his book about your Dream 100, and quite literally, if you've got 100 people that believe in you, that know you, that like you, that trust you, love you, all that sort of stuff, you can build an entire business off that. And if you only have 1,000 followers, but those 1,000 followers really absorb everything you're saying, and you're helping them out, and you're creating that bond with them, then that's all you need. You don't need to be a monolithic of monolithic stature. You don't need to be an IG model, although it helps if you've got good looks. But some of us don't, unfortunately. So anyway, you don't need to be an Instagram model. It's not about doing that. Like a lot of people think of, I guess, branding in the sense of, I guess you're like doing influencer stuff and you're strutting around in your mankini or whatever it is. But you don't need to go down that path. There are other ways. It's okay. And you don't need to be a sign or a slogan, or you don't need to be walking around with like the Nike logo stuck on you or anything like that, because essentially you're just going to be helping their brand by doing that. So it's not about that, and it's not something that anyone can ever take away from you. If you know how to build a brand, how to get in front of an audience, how to put yourself out there to a certain degree, and you form that relationship with your audience, that's not like no one can copy you. Like they can copy your content, they can copy your landing pages, they can probably copy your programs and all that sort of stuff as well. No one can literally copy what another person. Although I don't know why anyone would want to copy this, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, but there you go. People cannot take that away from you. It's one of the things that you own. Like you don't, if you think about it, you don't really own a website. The hosting company owns that. You own the code, I guess you could argue that, and you own the domain, the URL and whatnot. And even an email list, there is vulnerabilities with that. And the argument a lot of the time when it comes to online stuff is email marketing is one of the true things you actually own online. And that is true to a certain degree. You can, like, if your autoresponder provider goes bust or it stops delivering, whatever, then you can take the email addresses out and put them elsewhere. Although I have heard of a couple of horror stories of people having all sorts of nightmarish things happen with their autoresponder just like, nope, slap. We're taking your account away. We're taking all your toys away from you, and you're not allowed to go and retrieve the email addresses. So there is that risk as well. But a brand, no one can take that away. No one can take you away from yourself, if that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, that's a thing now. You can't take you away from yourself. Said it first, 2020, Jamie. Right. So why is it good to have a personal brand? So you can bond with your minions, or your audience as well, depending on how kind of like egomaniac you might be. Yeah, audience. You bond with your audience, right? So you guys are laughing now. That's how I bond with you guys, because I'm an idiot. You can't be replicated. You can't be copied. There's no one's going to copy you. Like I say, they're going to be able to copy the landing page. They're going to be able to copy the way you structure things to a certain degree, but they can't copy you. They can't copy your personality, your mannerisms, the way you communicate, your tonality, all that stuff, right? They can't copy your story. You can also impact people in a very positive way. You use your brand for good, not evil. Okay, that's one of rule number one of branding school is make sure you do good stuff with it. Right now, you also own it. That is super cool. Like you can't again, you own you. I hope. Might be a different conversation if you don't. If someone else owns you, and partners aside, yeah, you kind of own it. So that's a good thing, right? And the bond that you have allows you to form the bond that you have with your audience allows you to sell anything. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of that in a moment on this very next slide. Let's move into it. So Paris Hilton, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a socialite, I guess. But here's some interesting stuff. So her brand now includes 19 product lines. And I'm throwing it out there. I have a feeling she's probably not like an absolute expert in absolutely every one of those 19 things. I'm not sure she didn't spend her entire life going down 19 different pathways and working out how can I create a better smelling perfume that's going to get to the masses? How can I do that? She leveraged her brand. I have a hint about that. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she's just leveraged the crap out of her brand. She has 50 boutiques worldwide. Like, go figure, man. That's crazy. Good on her. And she owns a club resort in Manila in the Philippines. That's kind of cool. Now, admittedly, I mean, she's probably got hotels there anyway. So yeah, whatever. But point being is that she has a brand. Her perfume line alone has brought in over $3 billion to date. Now, these stats are a little bit old. We're talking about 2018-ish, give or take, that I picked this information up from. So, maybe it's grown since, maybe it's like 10 billion by now. Who knows, right? And earns over 10 million a year from business ventures outside of what's mentioned here. So, cash-wise, I feel like she's probably doing okay, kind of. Now, the other one, of course, is the Kardashians. Regardless of what your opinion is of them, they have done a freaking spectacular job of leveraging the crap out of their brand, and building it into this monolithic beast that's just is everywhere now, all corners of the globe. So, two examples of branding and why it's really cool to have one. And again, that's on scale, that's on mass. These are like big celebrities that have that. A lot of people know them. But you don't need to go down that pathway. Even if you just go like a little brand of like a few people like that's me like rapping, like captivating all the people up there, capturing them, or not captivating. Maybe I'm captivating them as well. I don't know. Well, anyway, you grab all your people. You don't need like billions. You only need a couple hundred usually to do pretty well. Right. She was also paid $300,000 for appearances in clubs and events. Imagine giving someone 300 G's, or imagine receiving 300 G's just to rock up to like a pub or something like that. Like, I do it for free. So, she's obviously doing pretty well out of herself. So anyway, how do you go about formulating all this stuff? Right. So first and foremost, what you want to do is think about who your perfect customer is. Now, I'm going to make the assumption, for those of you that are watching, that you have a product or service or offering of some kind that you believe in, that you believe is going to get results for other people. That is categorically the first thing you need, because without it, then you really don't know who you're aiming at, right? So that would be the first thing. Now, that's not to say that once you've built a brand that you can't pivot. One of the things that those of you that are in SAA might have heard, we talk about not falling in love with any one product, because don't get married to the product. Because that way, if the product blows up or whatever the case may be, you can always pivot, because you're the one that's got the relationship with your audience. Okay, so but start thinking about, like, who is your perfect customer? Who do you want to serve? What do they look like? Who are they? Where are they? Why are they looking at whatever it is that you can help them solve? Where are they based? Think about the psychographics as well. And if you want to learn more about that stuff, go into the likes of Facebook Audience Insights. That's through Ads Manager. And what you can do is actually have a look at the interest targeting and interest layers. You can have a look at what they call the psychographics. So psychographics, for example, are things like their shopping behavior. So how many times a week do they go to the supermarket? What supermarket do they go to? What type of vehicle are they, like, what their behavioral patterns are. Now, you're not going to know that to the nth degree, but even having like an understanding of what it is first and foremost. Secondly, having a rough kind of idea about where they are in what stage of life they are, and those types of decisions that they are likely to make in their day-to-day life is going to heavily impact the way that you produce your content and the way that you draw those people to you as well. And that's going to allow you to form that bond even stronger right from the beginning. Okay. Second, you got to go through your values. So everything that you stand for, everything that you don't stand for, that's equally as important, if not more important in some ways. Like, are you going to be someone that you don't mind getting your time wasted? One would hope not, but you never know. I mean, people, like, if you give, is that old saying, if you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. Like, the same as with energy and time. Like, people are just like vampires, which is that's the sound that vampires make. Apparently, I just kind of throwing it out there. Of course, it may not be. I've never met one in real life, only on the movie. So anyway, rambling and off topic. So beliefs. So have a look at your beliefs and what you stand for, what you don't stand for, what your values are. Like, anything you don't believe in, anything you do believe in, have a look at your life experiences. Spend some time doing this as well. Don't just kind of skip over this, because the more in detail you can go in about these things, the better you're going to be able to produce content off the back of it as well. So it's not just like, this isn't just a thing about who you're wanting to serve. It's about how you can not only serve them, but then how you can start forming a bond with yourself and your own life experiences with your audience in general, right? So think about, like, if you want to sit down for half an hour, grab a chamomile tea or something or maybe a peppermint if that's your jam, or maybe ginger, I don't know, whatever. Just, yeah, it doesn't even have to be tea. Get a coffee. Maybe don't drink, whatever. Just just have a drink. All right, have a drink and get a bloody pad and write some stuff down. All right. I'm kidding. You don't have to do any of that. But what you do want to do is put some time and energy into thinking about what your life experiences have been right from a young age. And what you'll find is that there's a whole bunch of content that comes from that, a whole bunch of stories that come from that, a whole bunch of different people that you can relate to for a bunch of different reasons throughout the course of your life. And again, those things are going to come through in your content as you go forward. And of course, what your goals are, what your future goals are, not just like, oh, I want to make 10 grand per month. Well, why? Like, what's the importance of doing that for you? What is that going to serve you? And how are you going to serve others when you do that? How are you going to serve their life? How are you going to help their life? All that sort of stuff, right? So think about these things. Create content. Asterisks. Let's just assume that that shouldn't be there for the time being. I don't know why I put that there. I think I might have wanted to remind myself of something, but some of you guys might have heard done is better than perfect. There you go. There's a prime example right there. So create content. Now, of course, a lot of you guys would have heard me saying about the formula that we sort of recommend, which is the RVL formula, which is wonderfully created. I actually don't know the origins of that specifically. I know that Fraser McDonald talks about that a lot and whatnot, and he obviously lives that very, very well in his content. But results that you're getting both in social media, if you're getting better engagement, it can be unrelated results. So you've done something at work, you've got some praise, you won a trophy, like all these things, you've got you've been experimenting with something and it's working out really well. You're getting better engagement, you're getting more views on your stories, like anything like that, right? It doesn't have to be, everyone thinks monetary, but it doesn't need to be that. It can also just be, you can show your results through your lifestyle. Now, I know it's kind of a little bit tricky at the moment just because of the whole, this whole little bloody sniffle thing going around the world, which is really kind of frustrating. But aside from that, you can do things like, historically, you can do things like through your travels. That's kind of showing a result of your laptop lifestyle, things like that, right? So value, of course, and this is something that gets kind of touted a lot. Oh, just provide value. Which you can, hopefully some of you guys are getting some value from this, but it's also my goal, as well as being able to provide that value to monetize as well. So provide value, of course, and yes, it's very cliche, but have a look at all the stuff that you know today, all the stuff that you've learned, whether it be affiliate marketing or unrelated things, and how can you bring that into marketing, and how, or motivational stuff, or like something that is going to help someone else out that is further down the path, like less far along the pathway than you, if that makes sense. And then also just putting out things like lifestyle, which again is travel. It is like having a cup of tea while you're writing down stuff that Jamie told you to, like whatever it is for you, your lifestyle. It can be just the city you live in, the country you live in. It could be anything, absolutely anything. Family time, if you're so inclined, whatever, right? And it all comes together and to form that thing, and that's how you start building that relationship with your audience as well. Right, find where your people are. So of course, if you're on Facebook, we're talking groups, we're talking I guess fan pages, we're talking recommended friends, we're talking if you have your own group, people start coming to you, so that's kind of cool. But in the initial stages, you've got to go through the grunt work of finding those people, right? And there's no sort of shortcut for that, unless you're going to throw a avalanche of paid ads at it. And even then, that's like a whole other kettle of fish that most people kind of mess up really badly anyway. Well, sorry, not most, but a lot of us do, because they don't have that conversion process in place before they go down that path, right? So anyway, there you are. Go find your people. Say good day. Right. What else we got? Help them out with something. How can you help your audience? How can you help your audience out in some way? So it could be anything. It could be, hey, like, I know you just dropped a link in my messenger without even, asking me out for a drink or anything like that. Does this always work for you? Have you ever considered something else? Maybe this might work a little bit more efficiently for you. Just throwing it out there and see what they think, right? So that's technically helping someone out. Please don't spam links, by the way. Engage in their content. Give first. So spend some time going through that. I know a lot of you guys are already well ahead of this. You already know that this is the case. But there's obviously a reason why we're doing this, because we do want to build that that branding thing up, right? And then that's how we're doing it. You also want to, I guess, once you've had some clout with your audience, once you've gone through that and you've been, quote unquote, validated through the content that you provide, through the results that you're able to achieve, and something that people don't really recognize, but the consistency of which you are present. And I mean both in the content, so if you're there daily or weekly, whatever it is, that you are there and for the length of time that you've been there, but also in how you're conducting yourself as well. Like, and don't get me wrong, I know everyone has ups and downs. They have good days, bad days. Some days you got tons of energy, some days you feel crap, whatever the case may be. But it's about being consistently there, if that makes sense, and consistently working on things and consistently present, and that will build that bond with your audience as well. So then eventually the attraction marketing kicks in. This is where, like I say, like, so the bigger celebrities, they have that upper hand because they do shout outs and they get, people pay them like 100K for a shout out on Instagram, whatever the case may be. That's, again, the leveraging their celebrity status, but we, like I say, we can leverage that to a smaller degree with our own brand. And basically the attraction marketing thing kicks in, which is people start coming to you like, hey, Jamie, I heard you had a $8,000 weekend recently. That's pretty cool. How do I do that? And then I sell them a PDF for $8,000. Just kidding. No, and then I try to provide value, see if we're a good fit to work together, and that's kind of how things blow up, right? So that's how that goes. Right. What else we got? So this is the more important part. It's probably the goods you guys have all been waiting for. I saved it to the end because no one, otherwise you guys wouldn't watch. Just kidding. So again, think about who you want to deliver your assistance to and add that into your content. And I know this is like basic stuff. I know this sounds very obvious, but you'd be surprised at how little people do this. Now, I must confess that I am not that great at doing it. Something that I've been learning about a lot more in relatively recent times. And one of the things you might have heard me talk about here, both in my group and on my YouTube channel, was what do we got? I think it's the 4 stages of learning, which is unconscious incompetence, meaning you don't know that you don't know, and then you got conscious incompetence, so you're aware of stuff that you don't know, and then you've got conscious competence, so you have to think about it to actually perform the task, and then eventually you've got unconscious competence, which is you don't think about it, just kind of comes out, and so and you perform with accuracy because you've done it so many times. And so for me, I'm going through that stage at the moment where I'm probably at like conscious competence, where I have to really think about it, and sometimes I forget. I have to go back. Oh crap! I need to remind myself to do this stuff. So anyway, but it is really important because you're going to define how your brand goes more and more, the more practice you have at this particular component. Because this is one of the big things. I'm just going to segue real quick here. This is one of the big complaints I hear from students. Says, Jamie, where do I find people with money? Well, I think everyone's got money. I think, well, not everyone, but I think a lot of the time people are just like, no, I can't afford that. It's too expensive, whatever the case may be. And I understand, like I've been, as I've told you guys, like I've been bankrupt. I've had like mountains of debt in the past, so which is kind of worse than being bankrupt because you're less than zero. I've been through all that. I know what it's like not to have financial resources. It sucks, like really bad stuff, which is not fun. So I get that, but then the counter argument that I often throw out there is like, when it depends on the motivation factor for people. So if you've got an example where someone they might need a kidney or something for like a loved one, I'm sure they could come up with an extra 5K out of somewhere in a couple of weeks. So it depends on what the motivating factor is there. And sometimes when you're going through this process, it's about pushing those buttons to try and find that, and doing that through your content is one of the ways that you can do it. So you also need to understand what traits do they need in order for you to want to work with them, not the other way around. Remember that the more you can view the online space with a sense of extreme and complete abundance, the more you're going to be able to, first, it's going to feel weird because you probably don't believe that inherently when you first start going down this pathway. But then eventually, once you realize, there's quite a few people on this whole Facebook, like 1.3 billion. In fact, I think that's actually close to 1.6 billion now, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of that. I feel like that's probably quite a few people. So what I'm saying by like throwing that kind of belief system into yourself is that you get to the point, and it might, like I say, it feels weird to start with because you don't really believe it. and you get tied up in one lead. Oh gosh, this, that, and the other thing. And I still get that from time to time as well. I'm not, no one's fallible when it comes to that. But what you do get to the point of is, hang on a minute, I'm the one with nearly decade worth of experience here. I'm the one that still has the amazing product that I know is helping a whole bunch of people that can help other people out there as well. And so it's not about whether they are the right fit for me. I'm sorry, I'm the right fit for them. They need to be the right fit for me, type thing. And I don't say that with any sense of like arrogance or like there's no ego tied up in that. But for you guys watching this, you need to have that same frame of mind. You can't kind of go, oh gosh, I hope I make a sale, because what happens when you're putting that out there is basically you are like attracting the people that are going to just be the absolute succubus of your time and energy. And so it's more about the other thing where you're the prize, you're the one that you've got the business, you make the choice who you want to work with, right? And it's actually, you're doing people a favor because you're not wasting their time by just appeasing them for the sake of a sale, right? You're putting his foot down. Anyway, now I'm kind of going off tangent. But anyway, do you have a diagnostic process in place when you start growing? Like, do you know how to go, okay, cool, well, I've got the engagement, I've got building my audience up, people seem to like my content, that's cool. And then if you've got a diagnostic process on the back of that, and you're calling out your audience from time to time, then that's cool. That's how you do it, right? Super important, but something that I don't think a lot of people put a lot of time into. So how do you call them out? There's a couple of ways, but start adding this type of stuff into your content. You'll be surprised if you imagine that every person that views your content is an audience member, and the more impressions that you can serve to them with these types of messages, the more it's going to be like, wow, okay, this person's no bullshit. Oh, wow, okay. Like if I reach out to them, I better be prepared to do some good stuff. This is amazing, and especially if you're able to back it up by a product that is getting people tons of results. It's a match made in heaven. So one of the things you can say, I only speak with people that are willing to invest in themselves. Because if you don't, then guess what happens? You are going to attract people that are like, who have that fucking idiotic belief of like, oh, everything online should be free. Like, why? Like, who do you think created computers? And who do you think created all this? So I just fucking hate that attitude. Anyway, my students are all hard workers, so then you can defer it as well. If you don't if you don't have it yourself or whatever, you don't want to put there, you make implications of what the character traits are of people, either yourself or your students, or in the products that you are promoting, right? I only work with people committed to making their goals a reality. And again, just have a think about how you can weave this into your content. Just, you don't need to put this verbatim, but I'm just saying, like, the hopefully the message of what you need to say is coming through, right? If you're not serious about building a business, don't waste my time. And I know this is also part of the polarization of your own audience, because what you're effectively doing is you're pushing away all the people that that aren't committed, that are lazy, that aren't willing to invest in themselves, and then you kind of just very slowly, all the people that fill those spots, like, oh yeah, okay, maybe I see you, okay, maybe this is kind of cool. And that's how it sort of unfolds, right? Hopefully that makes sense. I don't waste people's time either, because it's a two-way street. You don't want to say that you waste people's time. I'm just going to, I'll book a time to chat with you, and then I won't rock up till like half an hour late. And there's a lot of that in the industry. I've had it numerous times. The amount of people that stand me up for calls and different things like that, it's ridiculous. Or like, anyway, I won't go into it. But don't waste people's time. If you like complaining, don't message me. We're not a good fit. So again, it doesn't have to be verbatim with these things, but it's hopefully you understand the messaging that I'm putting out there. And like I say, you're going to be, the more content you put out, the more impressions you're going to be able to serve on your audience by doing this stuff. Okay. If you rather put energy into X, this isn't good for you. Isn't for you. So I used the I didn't actually put a word in there, so obviously fill the gaps. But if you rather put energy into, and I was going to say like conspiracy theories or whatever, but anyway, that's it. Oops, getting bloody cold in the middle of a presentation. It's not good. Don't think you guys hear that. That's crazy. I can't actually hear because I'm ringing. I have to hang up. Anyway, that's it. Call them out. If you don't have dollars to invest, don't bother, because that's another one. Of course, you don't want to be. Sorry about it, folks, by the way, but you don't want to be in a situation where you are. If people are like, I've got a dollar. Okay, cool. And please don't think I'm like being judgmental about people that don't have the financial resources. Like I say, I know firsthand for many years about what it's like to not have much cash, and it's it sucks. I get that, but at the same time, you and the next one will attest to that. You don't test drive a Ferrari when you don't have the funds for it, right? So same thing applies. You've got that kind of thing where you're the prize, your thing, and whatever it is, the product is the prize, right? So keep that in mind at all times. If you want the rah-rah stuff, this isn't for you. So what I mean by that is, if you're just after constant motivation, stuff like that, this probably isn't for you, because if you don't have motivation, then you've got deeper root issues rather than just, trying to fix the tactics around building an affiliate business. Conversely, if you do want the rah-rah stuff, you're in the right place. So you can actually use this stuff. And again, doesn't need to be verbatim here. I'm saying, like, giving it as a guideline, so that way you can kind of go out there and go, if you run like and you're in the spirituality niche, for example, and you're like, this place is for people that are into reading auras. So if that's you, then you're in the right place. However, if you want the stuff that's about reading auras, you're not in the right place. So exact same thing, completely different audience, right? None of them's right or wrong. It's just what your audience is and who you're trying to call out as part of that audience, right? If you have a broke mindset, this isn't for you. And again, that's one of those things. Like, if people are like constantly complaining and whining, and they're thinking in very limited ways, then of course that's not gonna weigh itself up, right? Motivation isn't money. Like, if you're just after motivation all the time, then it's not going to necessarily make you the bucks. If you'd rather spend all your time and energy going into the all the kumbayas and all that sort of stuff, then it's not going to propel your business forward. Sure, you might have a good time, but are you really unlocking the stuff that's going to get you to move forward? So you can put things like that out there. It depends what level of polarity you want to put out in your content, and how much you're wanting to push your audience away, basically, as well. And it's not. This is a takeaway. It's a classic takeaway I use in as part of my sales repertoire as well. It's not for most people, and that it is actually quite accurate, because I mean, my coaching's not for most people. SAA and anything else that I promote, not for most people. And I mean most people in general, in the general sense, of course. And that you can say that quite accurate. It's not that you're being arrogant about it. It's just, it's not for most people, like, seriously. And it's a takeaway, right? So anyway, if you match any of those, by the way, head over to jgcall.com, have a look at the free case study I've got there. And of course, if you are a good fit, you are prepared to put in some work, you are prepared to make an investment in yourself, get your affiliate marketing on track and fast tracked to hitting your income goals, go there, book a time with me. I'll see if we're a good fit, and we can tee things off, see if we work well together. Anyway, really quickly, just going to jump over, see if we've got any questions coming through. Oh, I do have people here afterwards. Amazing. Thank you for joining me, folks. Teacher Melvin, how you doing? Unicorns do exist. Hey, Fred, how you doing, man? There are other ways, man. Jace, what's going on? I'm ecstatic to see you. Posture. My posture is very hunched at the moment. Does anyone have any questions? Do you like my iambic pentameter on that one? Any questions? Or shall I sit here awkwardly for like another hour, just staring at my screen, or staring wistfully out the window? I'm happy with both. Actually, I do need to return that call though, so I might have to bugger off in a minute. But anyway, I cannot. I can see Facebook user, unfortunately, pops up on my end. So I guess technically I can see you, but I also can't like see who it is, if that makes sense. I don't know. So I have no idea. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's amazing. Could said person perhaps maybe drop a name so I kind of understand maybe who I might be talking to? I feel like that's the start of a song as well. Can you see me? How you doing? Nice to see you here. Thank you. Hopefully you got some value from this little presentation. I'm going to wrap things up in exactly 2 minutes. Unless, of course, you've got questions, in which case it's open forum all day. Well, sorry, folks. Talked to you before about helping me. Okay. Yeah, I remember the name. Remember the name. It's nice to see you here. Does anyone have any feedback around that? Is there anything you would like me to elaborate on regarding the branding side of things? I'm going to say that is probably not. All right, I'm gonna kill it off, folks. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and hopefully you got some value from this. As per normal, if there's anything you'd like me to cover, anything that's going to help you fast track your results online, please feel free to leave a comment here or in the broader community. And of course, if you do get value from these, you want to fast track your affiliate marketing, all you need to do is just go to www.jgcall.com, check out the free case study, and book a time if you are a good fit. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I shall catch you later, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Cheers.